The Zyrethian Cryptozoological Guild had explored hundreds of worlds, but none puzzled them like Earth. From orbit, the planet looked ordinary, yet its data streams overflowed with references to beings no scientific census could explain. Dragons, mermaids, unicorns, werewolves, creatures that defied biological logic yet appeared endlessly in human records. The Guild considered this an irresistible mystery. Thus the Zurith expedition, a team of elite xenobiologists, archivists, and myth code specialists, descended toward the blue planet eager to catalogue its impossible fauna. Their vessel, the Curiosity Diver, cloaked itself among low clouds above the Pacific Ocean. Aboard it, lead researcher Valix clicked his trimandibles in excitement as he reviewed the mission briefing. Humans show an unprecedented saturation of cryptobiological imagery, he announced. They classify non-existent species with more enthusiasm than real ones. His assistants, Yura and Korth, exchanged uneasy glances. On Zurith, imaginary creatures were a sign of cultural instability. Yet humans celebrated theirs proudly, even emotionally. This baffled the team even before the study began. The ship initiated stealth landing procedures near a deserted region of the Andes. The Earth atmosphere prickled pleasantly across their sensory membranes. Sampling begins at once, Valix declared, unaware of the intellectual chaos ahead. The team began by examining human digital archives. Yura plugged into the global data web and instantly shrieked in electromagnetic distress as billions of images flooded in. Humans have drawn dragons for every century of their existence, she gasped. Why are there so many variants? Fire dragons, water dragons, sky serpents, dragons with wings, dragons without wings, dragons who hoard gold, dragons who read books. Nothing followed biological consistency. Korth painstakingly attempted to extract common anatomical elements, but every culture contradicted another. Valix tried to find order in the chaos. He loaded a compendium titled Western Fantasy Bestiary into the translation grid. The first creature listed was the unicorn, a horse with a single horn, a simple enough design. Ah, Valix muttered, at last a stable species. But his optimism evaporated as he examined the notes. Some unicorns healed wounds, others purified water, others shot rainbows from their horns. Some were shy forest dwellers, others were war steeds. One illustration showed a unicorn wearing armor and operating a sword with telekinesis. Valix's sensory crest drooped in despair. Korth fared no better studying mermaids. Half fish, half human, he summarized at first, pleased with the simplicity. Then he read further entries. Some mermaids were benevolent singers, others devoured sailors, others traded souls, others ran underwater kingdoms with tax systems. A few versions didn't even have fish tails, some had serpentine bodies, others had octopus limbs. Korth eventually curled into a stress ball posture, his species used only during natural disasters. Yura attempted analyzing werewolves next. She catalogued 600 variations before the computer crashed from conceptual overload. Humans appear to generate new subspecies simply because they feel like it, she whispered in awe and fear. The team convened that night, defeated but determined. Valix declared, we must investigate humans directly. He believed the creatures of myth might correspond to obscure biological history, misidentifications, or ancient metaphors. He would soon learn how wrong he was. To maintain stealth, the Zyrethians disguised themselves as researchers from a fictional global university of folklore sciences. Humans accepted this without question, which disturbed the aliens more than anything else so far. Their first interview subject was a teenage fantasy novelist in London. Valix politely asked, what is a dragon's most essential biological trait? The novelist replied, whatever makes it cool. Valix experienced his second existential crisis of the mission. The next subject was an elderly fisherman from Norway. Korth asked about sea serpents. "Oh, I never saw one," the fisherman said cheerfully, "but I like imagining them." He then spent 2 hours describing multiple species he had invented on the spot, complete with diets, personalities, and preferred hobbies. Korth's datapad overheated trying to keep up. In Japan, Yura interviewed a folklore scholar who explained yokai. "Are they biological entities?" Yura asked hopefully. "Not exactly," the scholar laughed. "Some are spirits, some are metaphors, some are jokes, some are misunderstandings, some are warnings about manners." Yura's translation membrane flickered violently. "Humans classify manners as a type of creature," she whispered afterward, still trembling. The team collected endless contradictory accounts. Humans didn't merely imagine creatures, they reinvented them constantly, reshaping them to fit stories, fears, jokes, or artistic impulses. The aliens tried to place this into scientific categories, but failed repeatedly. "This species," Valix concluded, "possesses imagination as a biological adaptation." He said it with the same solemn tone one might use to announce a newly discovered organ. Their mission was spiraling beyond the bounds of science. Little did they know Part IV would break their models entirely. The Xyrethians traveled to Greece, investigating supposed ancient dragon fossils rumored in myth. To their surprise, they discovered large bones, massive, elegant reptilian, embedded in a mountain cave. Excitement surged among the team. "Finally," Valix exclaimed, "biological confirmation." But the bones dissolved into dust upon contact. A hologram triggered, showing laughing human archaeologists from 1978 who had planted replicas for an elaborate prank. The message read, "If you found this, future humans or aliens, please enjoy." Korth nearly fainted. Defeated, the team retreated to the Curiosity diver, their research models in tatters. After days of silent processing, Valix addressed the crew. "We have misunderstood Earth," he said. "Humans do not create mythological creatures because they believe them to exist. They create them because they want them to." He displayed a visual montage drawn from their interviews and data. Humans imagining dragons as symbols of power and danger. Unicorns representing purity and hope. Mermaids embodying wonder, mystery, or danger of the sea. Werewolves expressing the duality within human nature itself. The aliens realized these creatures were not biological at all. They were emotional, symbolic, cultural, metaphorical, artistic, psychological, and spiritual all at once. Humans, Valix declared, produce creatures not from the outer world, but from the inner one. This was a new category of life form altogether. They named it Imaginari Vitae, life generated by imagination. For the first time in the Guild's history, the Xyrethians documented an entire ecosystem that existed purely in thought, yet shaped global culture. It was the most complex discovery they had ever made. Upon departing Earth, the Xyreth expedition compiled a grand report for the Xyrethian Council. It contained no biological diagrams, no anatomical charts, and no genetic trees. Instead, each entry described the psychological function of the creature it represented. Dragons were categorized as embodiments of human awe and fear toward powerful forces, both natural and internal. Unicorns were placed under symbols of hope, purity, and the human yearning for goodness in a chaotic world. Mermaids were mapped as reflections of curiosity, temptation, danger, and the pull of the unknown. Werewolves were listed under duality, emotional conflict, and the fear of losing control. Hundreds more were analyzed similarly. The council was stunned. "Impossible," one elder protested. "A species cannot maintain imaginative fauna at this scale." Valix responded calmly, humans not only maintain them, they treasure them. They build stories, art, festivals, films, and identities around these creatures. They evolve faster than biology itself. The Council deliberated for 8 full rotations. At last, they issued a historic ruling. Earth was to be classified as the first mythogenic planet ever documented, a world where imagination produced its own parallel ecosystem. As the Zyrethians departed the solar system, Valix looked back at the distant, glowing Earth. Humans may not have dragons soaring through their skis, he mused, but within their minds, entire worlds flourish. And sometimes, he added thoughtfully, that is a form of life more powerful than flesh. The Curiosity diver vanished among the stars, carrying with it the single strangest conclusion in the history of xenobiology. That on Earth, imagination itself was a living force, and humans were its unrivaled masters,